many of them just moved while they're in the prayer. So 1 minute they're facing Jerusalem, while in the prayer itself they changed, without delaying, without hastening. As soon as that revelation came down, they oriented themselves to the Kaaba straight away, knowing that when God and His Messenger command something, the duty is to instantly follow it. And that's known as instant submission. Instant submission. If you accept God exists and He's the only one who can give imperatives and commands, if you believe the Prophet is the real Prophet and the true Prophet, and what he brings is revelation from God, then that is a basis which you follow. You submit to that. You submit to that. So if God and His Messenger command something, you follow it. You follow it. And then it says, وَقَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهَكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ فَلَنَوَلِّيَنَّكَ فِي قِبْلَةِ تَرْضَاهَا فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ وَحَيْثُمَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرَهُ. So the Prophet, Allah is saying to the Prophet here, look, we know you wanted to change, your heart desired to change to the Qibla, towards Mecca. And we accepted that, we granted that to you. So face then towards the Qibla. Go and now change. And the Muslims did that. The point here about what's the significance of this change in Qibla. What does it mean? How is this even important? As I mentioned, it's really to do with obedience, submission, and implementation of Islam right away. The implementation of Islam right away. What this tahwil al-qibla, what this change of the direction of prayer indicates is that when a law, an Islamic injunction or legal ruling or a law comes down, Muslims are required to implement it immediately. They cannot pick and choose. When revelation comes down, even though revelation gradually came down, its implementation was instantaneous. The Prophet didn't hide or wait 2 years and say, right, I've got revelation, what I'll do, I'll have a little summer break. And then, when it's colder, when temperaments are slightly cooler, I'll start implementing Islam. No, the duty is, because it's from God, it requires immediate implementation. In all areas of Islam. So for example, prayer. If we are commanded to pray the 5 times a day, or to fast in the month of Ramadan or other months, if we're required to be charitable, if we're required to be good in our behaviour and have the best morals with people, we don't say, right, I'll be the best in my morals when it suits me. Right, I'll pray when it suits me. Right, I'll be charitable if and when I like. Now there are times, there are conditions that we have to follow. One of the conditions is that as soon as we embrace Islam, if there is a legal injunction that's a duty upon us to follow, we follow it instantaneously. We implement Islam instantaneously. What's the evidence for this? There are many evidence in the Quran. I just want to give one where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 49, He says, وَنِحْكُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ وَحَذُرْ أَنْ يَفْتِنُوكَ بَعْضِ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. And Allah is saying to His Messenger, alayhi salatu wa taslim, O Messenger, rule between the people with that which God has revealed to you. And بَعْضِ مَا بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. And do not follow people's whims and desires. وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. Don't follow people's desires, because people's desires and what they think is right is not the basis. Follow revelation, what I have sent down to you. And then He says, وَحْذُرْ. And be aware, be careful, and يَفْتِنُوكَ. That some people might take you away. And بَعْضِ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Regarding everything that was revealed to you, there will be some people who will try and steer you away from it. One of the great commentators from Cordoba, in Andalusia, in Spain, Imam al-Qurtubi, Qurtub just means Cordoba in Arabic, in his commentary, he says the meaning of and rule between the people with what God has revealed, فَنِحْكُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ. He says, this is لِتَأْكِيد, this is to emphasize the point. Or it refers to ahwal wa ahkam, or refers to all types of conditions and legal judgments and rulings. Amarahu an yahkuma kullu wahidin bima anzal Allah. He, the Prophet, has been commanded to implement every single thing that God has commanded him to implement. And here the word ba'd, for some of us who may be taking Arabic, ba'd here, and yaftinuk an ba'di ma anzalallahu ilayk. Some people translate it as some. But if you go to the Arabic language and the scholars of linguistics and tafsir, Quranic commentary, they say ba'd bima'na kull. Here some means all of it. So an yaftinuk an ba'di ma anzalallahu ilayk means an yaftinuk everything that God has revealed to you. So be aware from being steered away from what everything God has revealed to you, because you have to implement everything He has revealed. So what this proves is that Muslims are commanded to practice everything that God has revealed. We cannot be selective over it. Because, think about it for a second. What if I want to say, right, I want to follow Islam, the message of Islam, but you know all the good stuff, I want to leave that. I don't really care about it. And some of the more sensitive stuff, that's the only thing I want to follow. Out of context. What do you get? You get a dangerous pick and mix, a bag of, you could say, dangerous code. I can pick anything I want. So that's the first point. We cannot pick and choose the religion. It has to be holistically contextualized. The second is this idea of gradualism in Islam. It's sort of cropped up now that, in order to live an Islamic life, you need to implement Islam in your life gradually, in stages. If you're not praying now, don't worry. 6 months down the line, you might start praying one of the prayers. Or maybe a year down the line, you go on to 2. Who knows, if you live to 3 or 4 years later, you might go on to the 5th one. Or, you slowly, gradually say to yourself, right, when the month of Ramadan comes, I might fast. I see I'm not quite there yet. I'm not going to fast until I feel I'm right. I'm slowly going to follow the laws of Islam. And people are doing this on all different levels. Earlier, the discussion was on economics and finance. Even in this area, Muslim governments say, yeah, we want to implement Islam and the justice of Islam and and all the principles of Islam, but we're not going to do it right away. We're going to do it gradually. We might get one institution to accept Islam. We might work our way, through different policies and then try and implement Islam slowly. But that's not the correct way to implement Islam. It's not the correct way Islam has said to implement its religion. Islam says, yes, revelation came down in stages, gradually, but when it comes to actually practically appropriating it, practically implementing your life, it must be done right away. It cannot be delayed. You cannot compromise it. You cannot say, I'll do half of it, but I'll do half of something else. That's known as gradualism. In Arabic we call that a tadarruj or al-marhaliyya. It's like steps, marhaliyya, stages. When you do something in stages. Now God revealed revelation according to specific contexts and situations and so on, but the moment it was revealed, its application had to be instantaneous. So I gave you the example of the Muslims right away in Qibla, hearing the fact that the Prophet is changing his direction, as they changed. Another example is when the verse of the prohibition of alcohol came. Some people were drinking, it was in their mouths, and they heard the revelation had come, they spat it out. Most of them, they poured it into the desert, right there and then. Their flasks or that had wine in it, or their kegs that had wine in it, they poured it out there and then. They didn't wait, the guy didn't say, right, I'll just finish the bottle, mate, first. No, because they knew straight away, once God has commanded something, it's got to be instantaneously implemented. The same thing when the Quranic verse came for women to cover. Women straight away ran to get their veils to cover their hair and the other parts of their body. Straight away. They didn't wait and say, I'll just wait till the summer dies down a bit from 50 degrees to 38 degrees and then I'll do it. Right away. Because they understood the idea that even though Islam has come for different contexts, the revelation, the implementation has to be instantaneous. And so, as I said, this is the idea of gradualism. Gradualism is this idea, and with this I'll conclude, and we can open up for questions and discussion. Is that gradualism is this kind of idea that you do things the way you think are rational steps. The way you think are logical steps. So you sit